So, today we are going to deal with a topic called farm accounts. Okay, so what do you mean by accounting of farms? Okay, any farming activities and its transactions, its profits, its costs, when it's put in the financial statements, it is called farm accounts. So, here, farm accounting is a technique of using accounting data for the cost and profit ascertainment of each farming activity and decision making with regard to the most profitable line of activity. Now, when I say farm accounts, there are now in a farm there can be a lot of farming activities. It can be agricultural activity, it can be sericulture, pisciculture, uh, poultry, dairy, etc. So, a person who holds a very huge farm might have all these different activities. So, what do financial statements do? We collect all these activities and make it into arithmetical or accounting records where you record all the cost and profit factors. And so each line of activity that the person has will be noted, whether it is profit or loss. And if it is going into too much loss, the owner can make a decision whether he can stop that particular activity. So if you ask what is final accounts of farms, you can say the accounts of farming activities that takes place in the farm is called farm accounts. So I repeat, so it is the accounting of the farming activities that take place in the farm. Okay, so that is called farm accounts. Now, accounting for farms. It can be transactions relating to farming activities can be categorized into four. One is it can be on cash basis, credit basis, exchange and notional. Okay, so these cash and credit transactions are recorded in the normal manner, just like in any other business transactions. The cash and credit basis are recorded. Cash, usually the farmers, they do not have any sophisticated way of recording financial transactions. They might have a book where they record all the cash transactions, how much they received, how much they have paid, and also how many people have to give them money and what they have to pay others. So all the cash and credit are just like a normal business transaction, but of course normal business transactions might have a lot of ledgers. They will have a lot of ledgers. Now the exchange transactions are in the form of barter system. So barter system is exchanging of goods. How can you exchange? Suppose if I am having a paddy field which with a lot of rice grown there, and the other, my neighbor is having wheat paddy, so wheat field. So what happens is when I get my produce of rice, I would give him rice and in fact get wheat in return. So that is kind of barter system. So the exchange transactions in the nature of barter, and they can exchange even animal, the human labor, exchange of seeds or even the output. Then notional transactions are those transactions which takes place between the members of the family. That is between the owner and the farm. Okay, so what are the examples of notional transactions if you ask me? It is a use of household capital, use of land held by the farm, and also labor. Actually, even now, for example, if you're having a farm, most of the farmers are the owners itself. So that is what they are saying, the labor provided by the members of the family, consumption by the members. So all those are actually notional transactions. Transactions between the owner and the farm. So those are called notional transactions. Profitability of crops. The profit of each crop is found separately. The direct cost clearly identifiable with the crop is charged accordingly. Now, the common cost should be suitably allocated in some accepted basis. For example, depreciation on repairs can be divided on the basis of estimation of usage of different crops, fixed on interest on fixed loan is divided on the basis of length of the crop season. Now, the profitability, suppose if you are having if you are able to identify the expense of a particular crop, you can give the entire expense to that crop. Now, if you are not able to identify, then you have to allocate on what basis, on the usage. How, now, for example, if you're using a machinery, what is the usage of that machinery on that particular crop? On that basis, you will have to allocate. Okay, again, if it is on the base of interest, you've taken a loan from the bank, and how do you record the interest? It is divided on the basis of length of the crop season. So this is how you're going to allocate. And if there are any common expenses, you can have a common P&L account. Okay, so this is how you are going to do for each identifiable crop. Now, here we come across different types of cost and different types of revenue with respect to each type of farming activity. So, the first one that is given to you is a poultry farm. A poultry farm is where you grow chickens, and this chickens, either you get meat out of that or you get egg out of that, isn't it? So, what are the costs? You have to feed the chicken. So, cost of chicken feed. Then you need hay, you need packing boxes, you need fuel to transport them. Then you have to maintain the sheds, you have to give medicines for the chickens, and also you have to pay the salary and wages for the workers. So these are the different types of costs that are incurred in the case of poultry farm. And what is the revenue? The income received is when you sell eggs, when you sell the chickens, it can be broilers or hens. Then also the excretions are sold as manure. So all these are the income and these are the expense when in terms of the poultry farm. Now next is, let's see, what are the expenses in the case of a dairy farm. Now in the case of the dairy farm is where you have cows and cattle, right? So there you have to give them feed, you have to buy hay for them, you have to cultivate crops, any feed crops that they need. For that you need expenses, you need insecticides, salary and wages. Then you have to process the milk that is being produced. So all those are the expenses that are seen. So now for all these expenses, what are the incomes? You sell milk, you get an income. You sell the milk products like cheese, butter, ghee, you get the money out of that. So that is an income. Sale of calves, the baby cows, sale of the dairy cattle, again slaughtered cattle. Slaughtered cattle is when you kill the cattle and you sell that, that is also an income. Then next is for the fisheries. What are the fisheries? You have the cost of seed, cost of water, cost of fish feed. You have to feed the fishes, isn't it? Cost of fish feed, maintenance of the tanks, then the catching expense, then any depreciation on the nets and any other assets, salary and wages. And the income that is received is from the revenue is a sale of fishes. So, how do you treat certain specific items? Now, for example, you have a lot of expenses on developing a land. So, you collectively put it under land development expense, and that is added to the land cost. So, what is it? What are the expenses that can come for the land? If you have to clean an entire area, if you have to level it, you have to provide drainage, if you have to give it good cultivation. So, all those expenses, you put it under land development expenses and added to land. Now again, what is drawings? Drawings is the farmer or his family may take a part of the produce for the usage of his family. That is called drawings. And how do you record it? Drawings account debtor to whichever crop, milk, poultry, whatever it is being, this will be the journal entry. Again, similarly, when it is consumed by farm workers, it is taken under wages account debtor to whichever item, whether it is crop, milk, poultry, dairy, fish, etc. Okay, so this is how you treat specific items. So with this, we've come to an end of farm accounts. Thank you.